So you are about to hire your friend to sell your property. Whew. All right, this is Ron Wojciechowski for the Black Hole of Real Estate, and that may or may not be the best idea in a market such as we're in right now. So let's break this down. You've got a family member who's in a real estate business. You've got a friend who's in a real estate business. And what I want to make sure is that your friend is active and full-time and doing a really good job in negotiation and has a marketing budget and the knowledge and skill to get you top dollar in this market. Because if you're doing them a favor to help them kickstart a career or jumpstart the business that's a little dormant right now, I'd be concerned. There's statistics out there that 70% of all agents did not sell a house last year. Now, I think the number's a little bit skewed because some people are on teams, and it could go in such a way where the team lead puts all the transactions underneath them. So there's actually some agents out there that may have done a transaction but doesn't show up that way. So let's allow for that. But 70% is still a really big number. What if it was just 60%? That means that most agents sold 0 homes. And if you want to break it down to like 1 or 0, well, then it probably is 70 or 80% because most sales are done by about 10% of the agents out there. So what does that mean when you want to help a family member? It means it might cost you money. And you have to think about that family relationship. There's a couple of things that happen when you hire a family member or a friend to sell the property. Number one, you think you're saving on commission, perhaps, or you think that you're funding something for them in order to get the house sold. Okay, so that sounds really nice in the beginning. And if it sells in a couple of days and you get top dollar for it and they're a great agent, kudos to you. In most cases, that's not what happens. What happens is they use the 3 Ps. They put it on the MLS, they put a sign in the ground, and then they pray that it sells. And the 3 P strategy is what most agents use right now because most do not have a significant marketing budget. If you look at what an agent might do, are they going to hire a professional photographer? Will they pay the money up front for the drone photography and hope that they get it back when the property sells? Well, part of the component is if they're being nice to a family member or you're being nice to the person who's an agent being your family member, maybe everybody's being so nice about price that we think that your house would sell for $400,000 when the world knows it's a $300,000 house. So now the property, because of this lack of communication and important matters, you get a market price that's way above where it's going to sell. It's probably going to be out there for 6 months, go unsold. You'll eventually have to hire another agent to come in and get the job done. Meanwhile, you're stuck. You have not moved. You paid mortgage payments when you shouldn't have. And there's a real possibility that the price of the house that you wanted to buy could very well have gone up during that time while you were way above the market in price. So that's one thing. What happens if you nailed the price with or without great marketing and an offer came in and it was less? Is the family member able to skillfully negotiate against the top producing agent the best price for you? Maybe, maybe not. But it's something I want you to think about. And if the offer comes in at $350 and you're priced at $400, they're like, oh, $350, you should take it. Well, if the other agent on the other side realizes that you got a brand new agent who probably hasn't negotiated a deal in the last year or two, the buyer's like ready at $350 and they like it, but that's the number they like it. If not, they're prepared to move on. They're like, oh yeah, we better take the offer because we don't know what's coming next. And sometimes the next offer never comes. But it could be a matter of $5,000, $10,000, or $20,000 that was being left on the table because they got out negotiated. It's a real thing. Now, if you over-negotiate and say $400, that's the price it's got to be, I'll show them, maybe the seller would have taken a lower number because that can happen too. But maybe the family member or friend wants to impress the seller, so they chase away the buyer only to find out, like, we'd have paid a little bit more, but we were, just not comfortable paying full price. So deals get lost like that. What mostly happens is that agent that's only doing a deal or two a year, maybe, or 0, they probably got a full-time job, so they're not timely when it comes to answering phone calls. They're not quick to fill out the disclosures or have them available online or answer questions. And they may or may not get the showings booked in the first place at the time that the buyer is in town to see it. So there is the possibility of a lot of missed opportunities because of the other commitments of that agent. You know, you're either a full-time agent, 7 days a week, all in that, or you're not. And I'm not here to tell you that you should or should not work 7 days a week, but the best agents work 7 days a week. And they work in days and nights and weekends at inconvenient time to get the job done. And that's part of being a professional. That's highly paid, highly compensated, and highly sought after. And before you think there's a pricing game out there, a lower price out there, there's a reason that people buy iPhones that cost twice as much as other phones, because they're the best. And I can go on about that comparison. Why don't people go to Starbucks or other gourmet coffee places when they can get a gas station cup of coffee for 1/10 of the price? Price and value are going to align. It's the same reason some lawyers cost more and some doctors cost more and some cars cost more. And sometimes in order to get what you're looking for, it makes sense to invest up front in the best possible representative for you. I don't have to put it out there on a sales shingle for you. You know, I'm very, very personally good at where I'm at. You know, we have the reviews online. We have the track record. But there's other agents out there that are on the rise. And so the hope for some people out there is if you have a friend or a family member who's an agent, who one day is going to be an amazing agent, and you're trying to help them get over the hump and get busy, listen, every single agent started at zero. There's good agents out there that didn't sell many homes last year, maybe because they weren't even in the business. You're going to have to make that decision for yourself. What I wouldn't do, I would not necessarily interview 10 agents, pick their brain about price and strategy and this and that, and then turn around and give it to your friend or family member and say, okay, I did all the research for you. Here you go get them. Because they may not have the tools and setup to implement it. And if they're unsuccessful and you try to call the other agents back, they're going to say, well, you took all the information we gave you over 3.5 hours of appointments and you gave it to your cousin. Yeah, good luck. We'll see you later. They may not choose to work with you either. So the cautionary tale is this. You could be helping a friend, helping a family member by giving them a listing of your property, but it may cause a little trouble down the road. And let's face it, if the property is not selling right away, that person who you think you're helping might be really uncomfortable every week trying to explain to you in that weekly meeting about why there were no showings, why there were no offers, why I'm not selling, and why you asked me to drop the price when you told me it was the perfect price. You see, that can cause problems too. I think that if you go into this with an open mind and you understand it and you make those options and choices together, so be it. And I wish you luck with that. But most people want the most amount of money in the shortest amount of time and the fewest obstacles to closing. And that usually is when you hire the best agents out there and not necessarily a friend or a family member. So I hope this helps some of you out there who are on the fence about this. And I'm not saying it's wrong to do that. I just want to make sure you're making the best possible decision with the information at hand. This is your host, Ron Wojciechowski, for the Black Hole of Real Estate.